Hello everybody. My name is Gemma Pollard and I am a geography teacher at Bourne Grammar School in South Lincolnshire, and I'm one of the editors of a new publication by the Geographical Association. It's called Geography 11 to 14, Exploring Our Changing World. So a textbook aimed at age 11 to 14 students, and I'm joined by my fellow editors, John Hopkin and Rob Bircher. And they'll be talking to you shortly as well. We are all practicing geography educators, and we've been responsible, along with a team of authors, for the publication. Those authors are Emma Cook, Emma Rawling-Smith, Gary Simmons and Aidan Heselwood, a really great bunch of people representing many different schools and educational settings, all experienced in geography education. And we're going to run through today. Rob's going to talk to you about the rationale for the book, really, what the purpose of this publication was, what we were aiming for and why. And then I'm going to talk about a few of the chapters and the choice of chapters. And John's going to talk a little bit more about progression and sequencing and what you'll find as part of each chapter and how you might use those as geography teachers. So I guess I'll pass straight to you, Rob, to talk about the rationale.
Thanks, Gemma. Yeah, the original idea for the textbook came from the aspiration to create something that teachers would want to use and that students would find genuinely interesting. Our idea was very simple: provide really high quality resources on a double page spread that students could explore and engage with as a launch pad for interesting geography activities. We really wanted these to be activities that could deliver real geography and which were as accessible to as a wide a range of abilities as possible. And that's something, of course, that geography is particularly brilliant at doing. And we went at the project with a definite sense of respecting Key Stage 3 as a distinct phase that could be quite different from GCSE, but still embed the skills and some of the prior learning that would be useful at GCSE. And we wanted to take the opportunity too to help inspire young people and inspire ourselves with the fascinating places and the opportunities to make a difference that geography provides. It has been a really wonderful project to be involved with. And as an author team, we've been so lucky to work with such creative designers and illustrators, and with such conscientious and dedicated editorial colleagues. And I really hope the results speak for themselves.
Okay, yeah, so as Rob said, our overall aim was to kind of take a fresh look at age 11 to 14, or Key Stage 3. And what you'll find in the book is some familiar aspects of geography, but hopefully some new takes on those as well. And we debated between us whether we would take a thematic approach or an issues-based approach or a place-based approach. And we decided actually that a combination of all of those would be better. So you will see some common themes, like I say, with a bit of a fresh take. So there's a chapter on tectonic hazards and weather hazards and population and cities. We've tried to include some new place detail in there as well, case studies on Russia, for example. The rivers chapter takes the example of the Indus from source to mouth and takes a proper kind of case study approach to rivers, rather than looking at the theoretical in an abstract way. And in terms of issues, we've looked at things like the geographies of mobile phones and used those geographies to look at some more complex aspects of economic geography, for example, embedded within that, but in a way that is appropriate for the students and something that they might be really engaged with. It's kind of close to them. We've got a chapter about oceans and plastic. There's a chapter on human rights as well. And I know for me, there are some topics that I've been wanting to put into my curriculum for some time. So it is possible to just take a chapter and put that into your curriculum, or to potentially follow this. But John's going to talk about that in a bit more detail. The final chapter of the book kind of pulls everything together. It's called, it's about the Anthropocene. And that's, I would suggest maybe a new topic that maybe isn't on many Key Stage 3 curriculums at the moment. And again, we've got some place-based chapters in there. We've looked at the Amazon and rainforests, and there's a chapter about the Arctic and the Middle East. And there are too many chapters to mention, but just to give a flavour of some of the ones that we've included. And I think, John, you're going to talk about what teachers get and how they might use those in their teaching.
Yeah, thanks, Gemma. I'm just going to add one more example, because we've tried to include some things which are a little bit new, but we've also tried to step back and say what do well-tried and tested topics look like in sort of 2020 or 2021. So I'm just going to give one more example, which I was looking at this morning, in fact, which is the geography of energy. So, okay, there's some familiar themes there, but we've tried to link that on the one hand to energy and development, and on the other to energy and its major impact on climate change. So a slightly different take, and hopefully one which will engage youngsters, and they'll find something out about the world we live in. So I'm just going to say a little bit about the support material. One of the things we've tried to do is sequence the chapters in the order in which we think we'd probably like to teach them. But of course, that doesn't mean that you have to do the same as well, because they are self-sufficient. And in fact, there is some quite challenging material fairly early on, deliberately there to make sure that if you want to stretch the youngsters in Year 7 or early Year 8, then that's there for you. We've also had a look at how the chapters work as individual chapters. So each one starts with some starter activities with big images to discuss, 5 or 6 inverted commas lessons, and then some review activities. And these lead into assessment opportunities, which are set out for you in the teacher support material. We've also, in many of the chapters, tried to indicate or encourage links between chapters. So how youngsters build on their learning earlier in the book, and looking for connections later in the book. So we've very much had progression in mind as well. And in the teacher notes, you'll find there's quite a lot of attention to the suggested learning outcomes, clear objectives for each part of the learning, and some assessment opportunities which we've linked to the GA's progression framework in broad terms. So in a sense, we've tried to make sure there's everything there to support you. I'm just going to add 2 other features, which is that one of the frustrations of using textbooks is we want to do more with the images and maps. What we're going to include in this project is a PowerPoint with some of the key images, diagrams, and maps used in each chapter, so that you can teach from the front with them, or engage pupils at the front of your class with them as they get on with their work, or to summarise the work at the end of the lesson as you choose. And the other thing we've done is we've put quite a lot of thinking into how to support non-specialists. So one of the features of the teacher's notes is that each section includes a little bit about the geography of each chapter. And actually, although all authors hate writing teacher's notes, that's turned out to be quite an interesting thing to do, because it's forced us to think as authors about what we've learned from putting the chapter together. So there we go. Hope that's all been useful for you, and it's particularly useful for you in the class. And I'm going to just turn back to either Rob or Gemma. I can't remember who's going to just say a little bit more. It's Gemma.
Yeah, yeah, it is me. I was just going to mention that we wrote a bonus chapter. We wrote a bonus chapter because COVID happened, and obviously that's a great opportunity to bring out the geographies of disease. So there is a disease chapter. It's exactly the same as all of the other chapters in the book, and that's available as a download on the GA website, and you can access that for free as a GA member. There is a small cost, I think it's $7.99 if you're not a GA member, and that can be downloaded now. And the textbook is on its way soon. It is looking really good, like Rob said, and it has been a pleasure to work on it. So we really hope that everybody likes it and finds it useful for your teaching. You can use it with your students. In the meantime, if you do have any questions about the book, then the GA are going to monitor the questions on YouTube. So just post a question below and one of us will get back to you. We're really looking forward to your feedback. Thank you, everyone.
Terrific. Thanks, Gemma.